energize me when my batteries are low. You bring me comfort because you're there. You are my oxygen, my air. When I was lonely, I would pray for something else. When I am with you, I feel glad to be myself. You are the rainbow, I am the storm. When I am hollow, you are warm. You make me happy. 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 You make me happy.
Good morning. Morning,
Good
everyone. Morning,
morning.
Thor.
Morning, Inbaal. Welcome
New Week.
to Happy New Week. Welcome to Predict the Week. It's the 13th of January, 2025. Have you got used to writing 25 yet on your, the readings and stuff?
On my mini readings, I thought I did, and then as I was typing out 25 the other day, I thought, have I been writing 24? So I think I'm still in the transition period, because it's something, I really like even numbers, even though 25, like first 25 marked 25 years of me doing this as my full-time job. So it's, it's almost half my life. So it's a real marker, but I love even numbers, and 2-4 is one of my favorite sequences. I love 2-4-6. I love 2-4-8. So 2-4 was kind of hard for me to let go of, but I am getting used to 25 and getting kind of excited. Have you got used to it yet?
No, I'm ahead. I keep writing 26.
Oh,
I'm in next year.
26. My finger slipped in a 26, so I wonder what that means about 26. But we're not doing Predict the Decade today. We're just doing Predict the Week. It's enough. 1 week at a time.
And speaking of the week, how was your week? How's your week been? How was your weekend? What have you been up to?
I've had the most exciting week. So first of all, this time last week, nobody could go anywhere where I live because there was a huge snowfall overnight. All the schools were shut. The roads hadn't been gritted yet. So the entire week, it never really went much above zero. So that snow from last week, I'm still looking at it right now. So that was a really special week visually. Instead of the kids going back to school, the kids were right over there. And then when they did go back to school, it was very piecemeal. So one school opened, the other one didn't open. Other schools in the county didn't open. So it all, like the school year geared up very, very slowly. And I start the business up back with the school year. So there was something very comforting about how it geared up very, very slowly. But then I had such a lot of, really glamorous work. So I had to write commentary about the Golden Globes for the press. And then I had to write commentary about the launch of the US Traitors for the press. And then yesterday I traveled far, far away for a glamorous fashion party where I got this little, it's like a cute little turban, but I think it's like cuter for me as a that's from Jennifer Grace, not endorsing anyone, but she's so cool and sort of hugely inclusive and very, very friendly to everybody, and was so thankful to be in London. And tonight I'm covering the launch of Love Island here in the UK. So I've just had the most mind-blowing week. How was your week, babe?
That's an incredible week. I love the turban / hairband slash accessory. It's so cute. I love it. I love it. It
I got
reminds
a
me a
green
little
one
bit.
too.
You got a green one too? How exciting.
Yeah, like
It reminds me a
velvety.
little bit of there's like a season of Friends where Phoebe wears, I think it's more bandanas that she wears, but it reminds me, it's like that similar beautiful style with the
Kinky.
hair. Yeah, I absolutely love it. My week's been all right. My week's been all right. For those of you keeping track, I'm feeling a lot less injured, so that's good. That's, come along leaps and bounds. I spent a lot of this week behind the microphone. Can't really speak too much about anything yet, but I've been behind a microphone, so that's been very, very exciting. I filled in for Laura on Psychic Brunch, so if you haven't seen that, it was a really, really good episode. We spoke about dreams. We had a request in this show last week from someone saying, "Can we speak about dreams?" So we took that opportunity where we had like sort of an extra show to speak about dreams, and it went by so quickly. I had such a good time. So once we're finished here, go back and have a listen or a watch to that. What else have I done this week? Lots and lots of lovely readings. A lot of, despite me despite me trying to fight against it, a lot of predicting the year.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
lot.
there's no way to avoid it on a January. People need to know how the rest of the year will go so they know whether to go back to bed or to stay out.
Yeah, well, lots of staying out for lots of my lovely clients, so that was really, really good being able to, guide people and give some guidance for the year ahead. I feel like I'm forgetting something. It'll probably come to me later on, and I'll just blurt it out in the middle of the show. But
Well,
yeah, so
there's
it's
all the things that you're not allowed to say probably sort of
mm,
block that side of your brain. So when I say to you, "How are you?" You're like, "Okay, there's this that we're not telling yet, and there's that we're not telling yet," and
yeah.
that kind of makes it stressful to say anything.
It's really difficult because particularly with voice acting work and a little bit with some other work that I do, I'm always under non-disclosure agreements, and I'm the sort of person that if something happens, like if something nice is going on, I want to tell everybody. I want to tell everybody. I want to include everybody. And I can't, and it's very, very difficult to be sort of gagged is the wrong
Discreet.
word, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it is
Especially
it
when
is
you're a
quite difficult.
Sagittarius like you are, because
Mm.
you're not naturally like a good secret keeper, but you don't have a choice because it's a career.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I often say I can't speak about it yet. I'm not being deliberately secretive. I'm just, I've signed things that says I can't talk about it.
Yeah. And have you found themes in the readings over the past week for your clients?
A little bit. It seems to be very, very transformative for a lot of people. A lot of people they're either going through a big change or they've got a big change coming. A lot of giving people the heave ho. A lot of people
Yes.
are saying, like, this is really this person's last chance. Because this, and this, should I let them go? Would it be in my best interest to let them go? Every single reading has been yes, let them go.
Yes. Big yes.
Every single one. So yeah, that's very transformative. What about you? Has there been a theme in your readings? Is it also
Yeah,
transformative?
exactly the same. Exactly the same. So a lot of mine have been giving people the last chance and then one extra chance after that. So
Mm.
I have so many times this week, and indeed so many times yesterday, had to say, do you want me to give him a call? Do you want me to swear at him down the phone? Do you want me to pack for him? Because it is a moment of transformation and it is a moment for people to kind of step into their own power. But yesterday, I heard things that made my ears cringe. A girl who
Yeah.
has been through lengthy abuse in early years
Oh.
said yes, and my boyfriend says that at the moment he's focusing on his work, so I can come for 5 minutes, but then I have to leave. And I'm like, what? How long have you been together? And she's like, 8 years. I was like, no, by 8 years we had 4 kids. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's
Mm.
And I said to her, just so you know, that is not normal. That's
Mm.
not that we aspire to normal, but it's also not acceptable. So there's a lot of being either just before or just on the cusp of kicking someone to the curb who has been, I'm sorry, owning that curb for a long time, because there were a couple of big changes astrologically last week, which we kind of covered, but it's interesting to see how they play out in real time. So one thing that happened is that Mercury, between Tuesday and Wednesday, Mercury, planet of communication, had gone from sorry, making sure I've got the right year, had gone from, so that's last week, Tuesday and Wednesday, went from Sagittarius, very fun loving, very joyful, lots of jokes, into Capricorn. And Capricorn
Oh,
stops you and says, excuse me, we are now having a house meeting. What value do you believe you bring to the relationship? So that's between Tuesday and Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? The kind of conversation I'd rather not be in personally.
yeah, same.
Yeah. So that was one thing. And then Mars, which is the planet of war and passion, has been going retrograde. So, fine, not great, but fine, we've coped with it. But between Sunday and Monday, again, last week, had gone from Leo, me, into Cancer, cry, cry, cry. And
Oh my gosh.
because I was sort of going far away yesterday, I took as much as I
Mm.
could out of my handbag. So I traveled down with like just one lipstick, not seven, and took out like lots and lots of tissues. So I have lots of kids. I always sort of travel with a whole roll of toilet paper wherever I
Yeah.
go, and piles of tissues and stuff. So I took only one single pile of tissues and came back with like one tissue, because with that Mars retrograde in Cancer, everyone was crying.
Ah,
Everyone was crying. So those two couple of things, when I see them astrologically, I think, okay, this change and that change. But when I see them come together to mean people on the edge of the heave ho, people very
mm.
upset for how they're being treated, then that makes sense that it's those two specific elements that come together to create like fertile ground for a very particular type of experience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like you say, it's very interesting to see it play out in real time, and we're kind of lucky in a sense that that we get to do that because we are guiding people and giving the information in the readings, and it's kind of it's a little bit maybe comforting's the wrong word, reassuring. It's a little bit reassuring that when we do like predict the week and we do have the information, and you with the astrology and stuff, and me with the the angel stuff. Um, that we're kind of on the right steps in what we're saying and in what we are, saying, okay, the week's going to be like this. And then you know, we have the private readings and we can see, oh, well, that's what we spoke about. That's what we predicted at the start of the week. So yeah, it's kind of reassuring in a way, I think.
Yeah, I really, really agree. I really agree. And it's something that, so one of the ladies yesterday, she was actually a model that had come from San Diego with the designers. Oh, so glamorous.
Wow.
I don't know about you, but I walk into glamorous spaces like that, and I immediately feel guilty. I immediately feel like, sooner or later they're going to send me to you belong on the other side of the door. But, this very, very glamorous, I was going to say lady, 21-year-old girl sat down, and she was like so welcoming and so inclusive. And she was like, my sister likes tarot. What's the best advice you could give her? And I was like,
Oh,
straight away, card of the day. Card of the day,
part of
do
the
a
day
card of the day in the morning. And then in the evening, you go back to it and you see how that card plays out
played out.
in,
Yeah.
yes,
And
in
you've got
real life.
real experience of what the card is telling you to do or
Yeah.
guiding you to do for, I think the real life, so I'm getting so excited because I love the card of the day technique to start people off, because that real life experience of the cards is so valuable. You won't get that anywhere else. It's not the same as, a psychic showing you, oh, this is this card and it means such and such. Like having that personal real life experience of the cards is the best life lessons and teacher for reading not just tarot cards but oracle cards, Lenormand cards, you know, dice, whatever it might be. Having that real life experience is so important.
Absolutely. So for you guys, we have got some predictions. We have got a fabulous topic that I feel like I was just about to slip into unintentionally. We've got a really interesting celebrity
Well,
story.
I was
Yeah,
about to tell you off because you were already
already there,
doing
already
it, and I'm like,
slipping.
no, because we're going to be telling you not to do that in a few minutes.
Yeah, to never do that. So let's start with some week's predictions. What have you got for us?
I have, first of all, we have this week's angel number, and it's 66666. Four sixes. So
Wow.
66666. Have to be very careful not to say the Swedish six.
Brilliant. I'm gonna
And
type that at the bottom for everyone. This
oh, good idea.
week's
So
angel number 6666. Fabulous. I love it. So what is the meaning of this one?
So I know, because I know the topic that's coming up, I'm very excited, and you'll be a little bit excited when I tell you too. It's self-love is the first main, thing. Self-love. Boundaries was the next big keyword that came out. Boundaries. Make space for something meaningful. So they're asking us to, get rid of old stuff that's not serving us, old people who need the heave ho, not old people, like people who've been in our lives a long time, who need the heave ho, and opportunities. So we have this week opportunities coming in. If we can make the energetic space, the physical space, if we can put up boundaries with people, we have opportunities coming in off the back of that. I feel like the boundaries is really important, and I feel like we could do like a whole 10-part show on that. But being
Yeah.
able to put up boundaries with people, with situations is, is so important, and so many of us don't do it for different reasons. Maybe we've been so used to having our boundaries violated. Maybe we've never been in a position where we can say no, don't do that. So it's kind of really important to start to say no. That's the first easiest big boundary that we can start off with. If something that you don't want to do, that you don't want to participate in, that you don't want to say no, no, very easy boundary to start off with, and from there, be able to put up more boundaries, as time goes on. And our healing focus for this week talks about doing more research. So whatever we've got going on, whatever we've got coming in, the opportunities, the people, I feel like for some people the opportunities are people.
Right.
Do more research, get to know the situation better. Don't just jump in, don't just go, oh wow, fabulous, a $2 million record deal, thank you, Simon Cowell. Do more research first. Make sure that it's actually Simon Cowell. I don't know where this example came from. Make sure that
But
it's actually
you're
Simon
predicting the
Cowell.
week as well, so it's the
Yeah,
future.
I hope. Make sure that it's actually Simon Cowell. Make sure that you've read all the small print. Make sure that if it's somebody that you're speaking to online, that you're thinking about dating, make sure that they are who they say they are. But also, what came up here with this too is courage and assertiveness, which really kind of underlines the boundaries and the self-love from the, what came up with the 6666. Have the courage, have the strength to advocate for yourself, to assert yourself. This is not the week, this is not the year, this is not the time to be a wallflower. it's time to, really step into all the power that we have, all the energy, all the ability, all the everything, the talent that we all have. All arm in arm if you want, Inbal and I will be side by side with you. We'll be your flanks. And really, have the strength, have the courage, assert yourself, put up the boundaries, and basically don't take any more BS. Don't take any more BS at all. Absolutely no malarkey. One of my favorite phrases, one of my favorite songs, partly why I really like it is because it goes, no way, no way, mana mana. So you do like a little dismissive hand gesture. Not today. Don't get fresh with me. And I think that even though it's kind of silly, I think there's a really strong message in that. What do you have for
I
us,
think
Inbal?
no, I really, really agree, and I love it. I can see that Poncho's arch is a little surprise. 6666 can be an angel number, but of course, angels are, ancient,
Well,
go back into antiquity.
yeah, well, the 360s actually is an angel number. That's where that started with. I think some people think that the 360s is, something horrible when actually it's not. I can't remember exactly the 360s off the top of my head, but that is also um it's also along the lines of like self-love and big positive changes. But this is the 460s. And actually, that's a good point to mention. I think that when we think of angel numbers often, and we see people posting on social media talking about angel numbers, it's often like 1111, 777. All numbers can be angel numbers. What makes it a special message is if somebody brings it to you, like somebody who works with angels, or if you are seeing it repeatedly. It could be as simple as seeing the number 10 or the number 7 or the number 5 over and over and over again. It's not like these big numbers that you see sort of on, the socials where people are looking at the clock at 11:10 and going, woohoo, 11:11. That's you sitting looking at the clock waiting for it to change. That's not the angels giving you a message. It's the repetitiveness, or if somebody who works with angels, brings that number to you.
Exactly. Or the surprise, when you're leaving a voice note and then it turns out that it was like 1 minute, 11 seconds. So it's
Yeah,
accidental.
like 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
And you see it like
Yeah.
111. That was happening with me yesterday. Like every song that came on was 4 minutes, 44 seconds.
Oh,
That's
wow.
very, very odd. And then I switched the TV on back there, and I have the audio descriptive thing on because I have problems with my eyes. And the little lady was like, "Oh, there's 4 minutes, 44 seconds of this left," and I was like, "Wow!" So I'm getting a lot of
Wow.
444s at the moment.
Amazing. Oh, would pay any amount to be getting 444s as well.
Yeah.
True. And Poncho is getting right in with the numbers thing, going, self-love, thought that was 69, lol. I, I really
Well,
hope
that's
we stay
sharing
on
that's sharing love.
it.
That's
Exactly. It's very inclusive. So first of all, the astrology for the next 7 days is in fact very calm. I don't get to say that very often, but there
mm,
are no big planetary transits. So Mercury, that's for you Geminis and Virgos, that starts in business like Capricorn, stays in business like Capricorn all week. Venus, so that's for you Taurus and Librans, starts in romantic Pisces, stays in romantic Pisces all week. Mars, that's for you Scorpios and Aries, starts in family minded Cancer, stays in Cancer all week. Jupiter for Sagittarius,
ooh,
a little less exciting, retrograde in Gemini, but all week. So it's party, 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 but it also means that things get cancelled for no reason.
that's okay.
And then Saturn for Aquarius and for, well, actually, because I'm not going to do the outer planets. You and me are in the same one because Jupiter is both Sagittarius and Pisces. So yeah, that's both of us partying instead of getting all the work done. So make sure all your ducks are in a row, because when this party season reduces, then you can finally step into all the good luck that's been queuing up for you. And then what we've got with Saturn, the planet Saturn, for Aquarius and Capricorn, that again starts in Pisces, stays in Pisces all week. Then the Sun for Leos starts in Capricorn, ends in Capricorn, and really the only the only star in the sky that always transitions is the moon, ruler of Cancer. So the moon starts right now in Cancer. Yay! And it's also the full moon tonight. So write your manifestation list. That's for everyone, not just Cancer. Write your manifestation list, decide what you want to achieve, what you want to come to you. So we start with Cancer, but then throughout we go tomorrow in with the moon into Leo, Thursday the moon into Virgo, so more organized, and then most of the weekend the moon is in Virgo, so things are as you plan them. So not actually, I know I said a lot of words, but not that much happening astrologically. And when things are calm, that is exactly the chance for you to work on yourself and to weed your garden. Get rid of what doesn't work for you, get rid of what isn't in your favor. And I know that you prepared a healing aspect for us as well.
Covered it. Did that. That was the
right, we've done both.
yeah,
Amazing.
that was the do more research, courage, assertiveness, and that what you were saying at the tail end there about working on ourselves, that really ties in very nicely with the setting boundaries, the self-love, being more assertive in different situations. I really, really love it when they tie in, because we do prepare the show, but we don't sit and compare like these notes beforehand, so it's a surprise to both of us when we come on. So I absolutely love it when it when it ties in so nicely.
Absolutely. So we've got our topic, and there are a few things that I was keeping from you when I was preparing my end of the topic, which I think you're going to absolutely adore. So who do we want to present the topic? I think I might hand it to you because you're so strident in presenting it.
Am I?
Yeah,
So our topic
strident in a good
this
way.
week, is we're going to be talking about minimizing ourselves and how we shouldn't minimize ourselves. Partly because it's just not a very good thing to do, but also it's a really not so great thing to do. I was going to say it's a really bad thing to do, but we can't always help it. It's a not so great thing to do from a law of attraction perspective. It can actually sort of block a little bit, what we are trying to manifest, because instead of saying, goodness me, I deserve the new job, and going, oh, goodness me, maybe I'm not good enough for the new job, you're kind of telling the universe that you don't want the job. And we came about this topic
Because
Demi Moore.
sorry. But yeah, after Demi Moore's very, very moving speech in the Golden Globes, where she got what she said was the first acting award she had ever got at the age of 62, having been in the acting world for 45 years. And she relayed how she minimized herself throughout her career, only to stand there clearly wearing a manifestation outfit that was designed to manifest an award. But that really sort of touched, I think, both of us. Like for me, it really touched a part of me. slightly as a woman, in the 21st century, where the expectation to be modest exceeds the need to be modest at all.
It touched me in a more professional way. So yeah, it did resonate in different ways for us, didn't it? Because I've also do you want to tell the story where she did minimize herself first?
Yeah, so I pulled up the text of her full speech, and I'm gonna read it out just as what she was saying. But she came on not with a prepared speech, unlike, without naming names, somebody else who, when her name was not called to come and receive the award, in front of the cameras, tore up a paper speech. So not to be more, she came on, as you can see, not holding a speech at all. So what she spoke from the heart, and she says, oh wow, I really wasn't expecting that. I am just in shock right now. And you can see she's in shock. She says, I've been doing this a long time, like over 45 years, she says, and this is the first time I've ever won anything as an actor. And I'm just so humbled and grateful. And then she said, 30 years ago, I had a producer tell me that I was a popcorn actress. And at that time, I made that mean that this, the award, wasn't something that I was allowed to have. That I could do movies that were successful, that made a lot of money, but that I couldn't be acknowledged. And I bought in, and I believe that. And that corroded me over time, she said, to the point where I thought a few years ago that maybe this was it. Maybe I was complete. Maybe I'd done what I was supposed to do. And she says, as I was at kind of a low point, I had this magical, bold, courageous, out of the box, absolutely bonkers script come across my desk called The Substance. That's what she got the award for. And the universe told me, right, that's in an awards show, that you're not done. And I am so grateful to Coralie for trusting me to step in and play this woman, Margaret for being the other half of me that I couldn't have done without, for looking out for me, to the people who have been with me for over 30 years, all of the people who stood by me, especially the people who've believed in me when I haven't believed in myself. And then she ends up saying, so it's really moving for me to read it, and I'll just leave you with one thing. She says that I think this movie is, one thing that I think this movie is imparting is, in those moments when we don't think we're smart enough or pretty enough or skinny enough or successful enough or basically just not enough, I had a woman say to me, just know you will never be enough, but you can know the value of your worth if you just put down the measuring stick. And so today, she says, I celebrate this as a marker of my wholeness and of the love that is driving me, and for the gift of doing something I love and being reminded that I do belong. Thank you so much. And it was just mind-blowing to see a woman who I had viewed as successful my whole life. When I came into being, as an adult, she was already huge. She was somebody that I went to watch in the movies when I was a teen, when I was maturing. And to me, she was all the way up there. And for her to sort of show that vulnerability and lift the veil and say what it was like for her was really mind-blowing. Do you know?
It's such a beautiful, beautiful speech. Very, very moving. Very, very moving.
And where it touched me is because I don't feel there was sort of somebody within my career that sort of went, this is not right, this is not good enough. But feeling that I grew up within myself. And I grew up in an environment that made me feel like I was too big for anything. And when, for example, when we had all the snow here, I still went running every day. Now, my neighbor caught me like Tuesday or Wednesday, and he went, "Are you going running in this?" And I said to him, "I'd say, it's very slow. It's not really a run." I said, "This is my maximum pace." And then I was like, "Yeah, why do I do that?" And then, the dog walkers, the only people sort of doing the path were the people that had to, because their dogs need to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
The dog walkers are going, "You're brave." And I cancel it. I go, "Oh no, I'm just sort of going out for a little bit. I run for an hour a day, babe. I run for an hour a day, whatever the weather. Sometimes it's 11 p.m. if I haven't managed to fit it in, but I cancel that. And when I get any sort of compliment, I take it away. When anyone says to me, "Oh, your picture looks nice," I always go, "Oh, it's just angles. I know my angles." And a long time ago, when we worked on a Sky TV show, the producer had to say to me, and he said that in front of everybody as well. I didn't take me to one side. He said, "I'm going to need for you to stop putting yourself down on camera, because it's bad for the show. Not because it's bad for you, because it's bad for the show." And I was like, "Me?
Yeah.
Me? No, I'm very proud of who I am. I'm very proud of what I do." But it's like a verbal tick.
Yeah.
And I don't know if women watching can relate to it, or human beings watching can relate to it, because I think we're expected to minimize ourselves. We're valued when we minimize ourselves, and it can be so unbelievably toxic, and like Demi Moore says, corroding. It
It
eats
is
away.
corroding. You even did it at the top of the show. You even did it at the top of the show. You were like, "I walk into glamorous places and feel guilty." Why?
Because I always feel like I'm not glamorous enough. I feel like my overweight is, polluting the place. I really do. And I'm being sort of so real right now. But I know that it's not just me. There's a line in, is it this in maybe in the second Bridget Jones movie, where she makes friends in, like, she's in the law society. She goes on a date with Mark Darcy, who is a high-flying human rights lawyer. And in the law society, everybody can quote laws at each other and stuff. And she feels like a little bit awkward, and her hair is not great, and she was putting her makeup on coming in. And one of the other lawyers, he feels really awkward as well. And he feels, not very glamorous. And he says to her, "Do you sometimes feel like it's just a matter of time before they show us the door?" And she says, "Like you and me, you mean?" So she's a little bit shocked that he included her in his, in his toxins.
Yeah.
But I could really relate to it. I had somebody come in for a reading, like in my house. And it was a bloke. Normally, I'd never see men in my house, but gay. So, welcome, door is open. And just towards the very, very end, I said to him, "So where do you work?" And he's like, "Oh, this is my name on the big hairdressers in the main street." And I had come in from a run.
Oh, have we lost Inbaal?
I think
Did
we
we
lost
lose
both
you?
of us for a second. I don't know what happened there.
Oh, well, we're here now.
We're here now. So I had come back from a run, had a shower, left my hair, didn't brush it, put some oil in it, to replenish it. And here I'm sitting in front of not just a hairdresser, but a hairdresser whose name is on the, immediately I feel guilty. Immediately guilty. If I have to do, I have to. When I did a reading, I did a house visit years ago, and in the end, because it's always in the end when I don't go, "Are you a hairdresser? Are you?" I say what I can see, and in the end we have chit chat. So in the end, I said to the lady, "So what do you actually do?" Because I could see that she works with materials and with colors and stuff. And she said, "Oh, I'm a stylist. I'm a personal stylist." Immediately, I feel guilty, and all of that compounds in such a huge way when I walk into like a designer party or like an event, or like into a production office or into I worked for Elle magazine. I did their horoscope for a while, and when I
Yeah.
had to just sort of come up to sign some contracts, I was in an absolute panic. I was like, it's Elle magazine. What do I wear? And I walked in, and it's just an office, and people wear clothes, and their
Yeah.
hair is hair, and it's on top of their heads. But but
Magazine offices, like fashion magazine offices or music magazine offices, are some of the most unglamorous places that you will ever go in. They're not even
really
like nice
understated.
offices a lot of the time. It's like scruffy, rented stuff with orange peels on the floor, completely unglamorous.
Yeah. I mean, if there's a window, you're lucky.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it really sort of touched me how, as a culture, we minimize ourselves. And actually, let me take myself off screen for a second and just sort of bring back. So the party I was at yesterday, I felt like everybody was really glamorous, but I spoke with a designer. Hi, Jennifer. And she said she was always an outsider. And I
Mm.
really thought, how come somebody who's tall and thin was an outsider? It's so outside my frame of reference. But one of the gifts that she gave everybody, let me go and take it off the fridge. It's a fridge magnet that says, wait, now I want to take myself off screen.
So yeah, so while Inbaal gets the fridge magnet, if you've just joined us, this is Predict the Week. We are currently at the point of the show where we are talking about our topic, and we're talking about minimization in terms of like self-minimization this week, in response sparked by Demi Moore's Golden Globe win after all these years in acting. Did you get your magnets?
I did. She gave everybody a magnet that says, well, hello there. You look absolutely gorgeous today. And then
Oh,
this is her stuff there with the little turbans that she hand makes and sells. And
amazing.
we got that in the little goodie bag. And I think mine is still upstairs, but my daughter got one. And she was like, oh, and she was like, this is beautiful. And my son, my bigger son, was saying, oh, this is nice. And I said, I think it's a magnet. Look at the back. I think it's a magnet.
Ah,
So
yeah.
they both ran and put theirs on the fridge, and now it's there. And really, the association of looking gorgeous and the fridge,
Mm.
which can be like the source of all anxiety, it's mind blowing. In a way, I'm so thankful for the younger generation that just do not take this BS from anybody.
Yeah,
They
me
will
too.
be right. They're so
Mm.
fabulous. They will be big if they want to. They will be small if they want to. They will be themselves. They will be full of makeup or with no makeup at all, and you're not going to tell them whether that's right or wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
I love them for it. So, with that topic in mind, I pulled up Demi Moore's star chart, and I couldn't believe it when I just saw her birth details. So, did you know that she was born on 11/11?
Ooh, I did not know.
Right? Right. So she was born 11/11/62, 1962. So 11/11/62, fine, but also born apparently at 2:16 p.m. So the 2, the 1, and the 6 repeat through the time of birth, through the date of birth. And she was born in Roswell, New Mexico,
Ooh,
from the Roswell stories,
yeah, yeah. That's
right?
incredible. I didn't know any of this.
I didn't know any of it. Um, so where we've got her sort of emotional nature, first of all, she's a Scorpio. And throughout, so I was born in 74. So Demi Moore has always been, present and, and famous and sort of huge in my consciousness. And I remembered her from Ghosts, where she was the big beauty, but she was actually kind of checking out of the long hair, tan beauty. She was very pale, dark hair, short hair. And it was, if I remember correctly, she was the only star of that time with the short hair. And then while being such a huge star, she married Bruce Willis and had 3 babies back to back. And not a lot of people did that at the time when they were in a position of power. They maintained that position of power and prioritized the career. So she checked out of the career and had 3 babies back to back. She had a very, very famous magazine cover where she was pregnant and you could see the pregnant belly. So very, very obviously she did G.I. Jane when her whole head was shaved. So she checked out of convention many, many times, then separated from Bruce Willis, who was, such a dreamboat and a Pisces, got together with Ashton Kutcher, much, much, much younger than her and not with children, and reinvented herself, sort of started the second stage of her career as a sort of gorgeous, more typical long-haired beauty. But by then she was already sort of outside of the age of acceptance for Hollywood for like a leading lady. So she's sort of pivoted a lot. And so it would be obviously no surprise that she is a Scorpio, because Scorpios will act very combative on the outside, but are really sensitive on the inside. But what is interesting is that her ascendant is Pisces. So she takes things to heart, like a lot, like really properly. And her moon is in Taurus. So tenacious. But what was interesting for me to see is that in the rest of her chart, so I don't know if this is something that's sort of really acceptable in astrology terms, but when you look at somebody's chart, if you have a big clump over in that corner, that happens to famous people. And if you look at, say, Harrison Ford's chart, who has been famous, for longer than I have been alive, almost all of his planets are in that corner. So she has got that, was always sort of right for her, but she's got Mars in Leo. So being on the stage was always right, was always correct. And she has a lot in Scorpio. She's got her sun in Scorpio, Venus, Mercury in Scorpio. So Mercury is communication, and having that sting in the tail when you communicate means that instead of being sort of polite and kind to all the producers and directors around her, she'd have been like, or she'd have had like the facial expressions that mean the same. Poncho says, why do we give Hollywood the time of day? By now, we should know they're part of the problem. We give them the time of day really just because they are symbols of what is occurring in society. And we're really sort of only referring to the Demi Moore speech as an example of the topic that we're looking at anyway. So that was a good question. So yeah, that was really interesting to me. Have you got anything important that you want to add to that before we go to some questions?
I really relate to this. I really relate to everything that she said. I hadn't saw or listened to the speech beforehand, before you'd read it out. So that part was all, very moving, and the first time I was hearing it. But I really, really relate to this. I've grown up in showbiz, and there's a line of people around the block all the time ready to tell me how unfamous I am, how I'm not the best singer, how I'm not the best actor, I'm not manly enough because I'm not like a boy, too blonde, to like the somebody's always got something to say like that, and for me, I was able to sort of block it off for a really, really long time, right? I think when you're really, really young, you're kind of a lot more resilient, so you kind of just go nah. But as I got a little bit older, I was involved in a project where it had a lot of press attention. There was fake controversies attached to the project. It was all lies. It was all just made up in the press. But they were also dragging the actors through the dirt, including myself. And it was, these people can't act, they're, really, really bad, etc. and so on. And that for me kind of it really got under my skin. It really got under my skin. And in a horrible, horrible cycle of maybe I'm finished, maybe that's it. It felt like my career was over, that it had ended, that I would never work again in any way, shape, or form. And it was really, really awkward because it had happened. I was live somewhere. I was part of what I do is game streaming sometimes, and I was streaming live while all this was coming out. My phone was, like fireworks with everything coming through. The producers contact me saying, "Goodness me, this has all happened." I've slipped that it was a game. The game got pulled from existence on Christmas Eve, which for Scandinavian people is like the main Christmas day. So I was having to deal with that on like a special day, while live finding this all out. And then because because it was a holiday period, and news is slow, particularly in that field over that period, it dragged on and on and on. And then it was really awkward because I still had something to do. I still had a job to do afterward. And my confidence was just completely gone, completely gone. I had to do so many retakes because you just when you're trying to act or sing or perform in any way, it could be readings even, and your confidence has been knocked so much, you just don't like you almost hold back in a way. You're second guessing every single beat, every single word, and so yeah, I was very much in a position like Demi where I was like, maybe that's it, maybe maybe I'm finished. Of course I wasn't, and I'm not. But it's still like it still haunts me. It still haunts like the back of my
Yeah,
brain.
because it does corrode, like she was
Yes.
saying, it stays in your consciousness, and you think, oh, what did I do? What could I have done to
Mm,
prevent that? And when you bring yourself into the equation, where the equation doesn't include you in the first place, it's a problem you didn't create, it's a problem you're not a part of, it's a problem that you happen to walk into, that anyone in
yeah.
your position would have been in the exact same problem, but it does eat away at you because you think, oh, maybe if I was different, it would
Yeah.
have been a
Yeah.
little different. Anne says, can we ask psychic questions? Absolutely. Now is the perfect time.
Yes. Yeah. We're just coming up for the psychic questions now. We could probably fit about four in, would you say?
I think, yeah, if we're
Yeah.
nice and quick. So we've got some messages from Kyle. Kyle, we haven't forgotten you. Kyle also, in relation to the beauty conversation, says the inner creates the outer. I'm really counting
Mm.
on that with hearts. But we have a question from Kyle, and I think apart from that, we don't have any other questions. So please go ahead and send them in. So let me pull up Kyle's question. It's in two parts, so I'll read it all out and then we'll relate to it. Kyle says, hey, it's Pizza94. I don't know, I kind of like Kyle better, saying, I'm just wanting to ask if that's all good about anything up and coming. I have a good feeling about this year. Also, me and her split, and I kept rewatching the video where I asked, there still seems like there is something guarded, but yeah, who knows? You said there is more to it. So patience, thank you, and forgive me for the long message. So the question really is whether something is coming up, because Carl's got a good feeling about the year. And, Tor is a law of attraction specialist, expert. So I think he'll confirm that by fostering this feeling that something new, that something positive is coming, you're making it inevitable. Of course, something positive will come. But yeah, what have you got there, Tor?
The main thing that comes up here is a message of perfect timing. And just to reiterate that, if you do feel like something good is coming, you will attract good things. So really, really hold on to that feeling. I actually feel like your big relationship hasn't come for you yet. That is coming. That is coming. This has very new energy, so I don't feel like it's the person that you're asking about. I'm very, very sorry. It doesn't feel like that person. It feels like somebody new who is coming in. This is a time of healing for you. So like what we were talking about with the general predictions earlier on, it's a time to focus on yourself. It's a time to set boundaries, and it's a time to think about what you want and see what opportunities are presenting themselves. But I feel like, yeah, it is a good year for you, generally speaking. But I feel like there's new love on the way. That's the big one. What do you have, Inbal?
Well, I feel like Kyle is still not done healing. So I'm really sort of chiming in with you to say, Kyle, you're still thinking, did I do the right thing? You're questioning yourself. You're thinking, could I go back if I wanted to go back? Maybe she changed. Maybe she will change. And those thoughts are not getting you to where you need to be getting. Where you need to be getting is feeling whole within yourself, feeling courageous, feeling strong, feeling empowered. And that kind of overthinking is just dragging you exactly the opposite way. So I'm with Tor, 100% focused on making the best year that you can for you. And
Yeah,
just like you said to us, you said the inner creates the outer.
inner
I'm
creates the outer.
repeating that to you.
Yeah.
When you're fully healed, you will draw somebody to you who is also fully healed. And I know that, you might want somebody who's a specific height, specific eye color. Take all of that off your list and just put fully healed. Just put
Yeah.
fully healed and you're laughing. You're fine. So yeah, that's what I've got. We've got a few questions have already come. So thank you for everybody that sent the questions. And this is as much as we can take. We have a really good really good comment first from Ali Crawford, who says, wow, she says, I just came across you guys after dealing with a narcissist mother. Very similar situation. I would say identical,
Identical. Yeah.
especially this feeling like there's something wrong with your body, because when you deal with things like that in childhood, you don't think, oh, there's something wrong with that personality and that, because your brain is not mature enough to process it like that. So you think there's something wrong with me, maybe the body, because that's what I've done. Maybe something wrong with my hair, maybe something wrong with my, with my tummy. And she says the negativity definitely stays in your head, even though it's not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I know I can act. I've all, I have qualifications in acting. So even if I wasn't like naturally very, very good, there's a piece of paper that says I can act. So I know in a very logical way, and I'm sure Demi Moore in a very logical way knows, oh, I'm good at my job. But there is that corrosive thing, that swirly in the background. And I think with a narcissistic parent, it's like that 100 times over, 100 times
Because it's
over, because
constant. It's
yeah, it's
constant, and it's the
constant.
person that you depend on for,
Yeah,
for eating and, for eating and being housed.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
such an incredible analogy.
And that is so toxic, and they get into everything. They get into absolutely everything, and nothing you can say and nothing that you can do is good enough. And I'm so sorry, and I'm sending you so much healing, Ali, that you've been going through that. Lots of love.
We've got the question from, like, we could talk for 3 months non-stop, leave the cameras on, about the narcissist connection. We're only stopping because we have the more questions, but this is absolutely on the nose. So
Yeah.
Chaley is saying, is everything going to go through with this house sale? Will Medicaid release the lien? I don't know what it is because we're both in the UK. We don't have Medicaid here. But let's ask about the house sale. Is it going through?
So, oh, there we go.
What have we got
Okay,
there?
I'm gonna ask about the lien first, just with the pendulum. Will they release the lien? Yes, before I even finish the sentence. Please don't hit my eye. Yeah, so with the house, you've been trying to get this going for a long time. I can see it's been like one thing after the other. Something goes wrong, a bit of wood falls off a door, all kinds of nonsense going on. This is the time. This is the time your wish is granted. It's coming. It's happening. This is the time. Very simple answer. Sorry, it's so simple and short, but you know, a yes
Yeah,
is a yes.
amazing.
A double yes.
Yeah, so I've got a yes there as well. It says, even if it takes its time, it's happening. You can already sort of plan what room goes where, you know, what window is going to be like your favorite drink a cup of tea window. So yeah, it looks really positive. And Jaylee responds, excellent, thank you. Simple is perfect. That's what I like to think about myself. The next question we've got, and please don't send any more questions. Anne says, my question, do you see a serious romantic relationship in 2025 with the man who lives abroad? And she says, I live in the US, he is in Europe. So do we see a serious romantic relationship?
Yes.
But yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at the two of them holding hands in like the Wicked colors. One is in green, one is in pink.
Yes. You may have to rearrange, change, come to terms with some different values. One of you might view certain things a little bit differently than the other, and I feel like that may be a sticking point. But what they're saying is don't give up on it, because it has it, you know, it might not be like a marriage in the traditional sense, but you know, it has marriage potential, it has long-term relationship potential. But they're also saying here, don't rush it, don't rush into it, don't move to Europe the minute he bats his beautiful eyes. Okay, easy does it, meet a few more times, video chat every day, talk every day. I want to say actually next year is more significant for this. I'm so sorry. I know you were asking for this year, but I want to say like March 26, 2026 is more significant for this.
Yeah, so all I've got here is like the practical. So the relationship is already sort of serious. It's already going on. It's the practicalities, what goes where, what kind of finances are going to be arranged and stuff. So you're moving kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. You're in the right direction, but it's just a matter of getting the practical things in place. And we've got one question from Pam and one question from Ali, and Ali's question is going to be the final one. So Pam says, Tor, I feel this year has new beginnings and new happiness for most of us. What do you see for me this new year?
Oh, Happy New Year, Pam. Thank you so much for your question. What do we see for Pam this new year? I love that. I love the name Pam too. Well, this card's making a lot of appearances today. You're going to have movement in love and relationship this year. It feels more towards like the middle to the end of the year, but something big in love is coming. I'm seeing you out and about a little bit more this year than you have been the past couple of years. Has there been something going on that's been like really holding you back the past couple of years, Palm, whether it's like an ailment or something like that? I feel like that kind of evaporates this year. Um, Out and about a lot more, just really enjoying your time this year, and stop being so hard on yourself. Learn to forgive yourself. It's okay that maybe the past couple of years have not been very exciting. That's okay. Or, all the other things that's going on. That actually, sometimes they stop me from spilling out people's personal business. They're like trying to hold my lips like that. Um, so just learn to forgive yourself. This year is going to be really good for you on all counts, but big love coming.
Amazing. I jumped in with just the one card, and it's a
Ah,
card. It really relates to what you said about being out more, because this is such a fun card for sort of for having that biscuit if you want that biscuit, jumping out and
mm,
having a little walk in the park if that's what feels right. So this is a card of enjoying yourself with the small things with no apologies. I am not sorry that I'm enjoying myself and having fun. So it really sort of chimes in exactly with what Tor
love
was
that.
saying. And our final question is, and it's so good, but it really has the touches of the topic and of the narcissist parent and everything in there. Ali says, my question, last year was a game changer for me in a positive way. It seems like things are going too well. And I'm constantly waiting for the upheaval. Is it just my head, or is everything going to be onwards?
Do you know
Wow.
why you're waiting for the upheaval? Because of your experience with the narcissistic person. It's that same corrosion thing that we were talking about, because you've had that your whole life. You've had that your whole life, and it's like a huge heavy weight on top of you. And now that it's sort of lifting, you are literally free to do and be and say and eat and look at and all the things as you want, as you please. And that's a little bit frightening. It's a little bit frightening to have that freedom. Um, so make a little plan. Make a little plan. You can do it as like a little manifestation of a few things that you want to do and experience, to keep it a little bit simple, so that you're not getting as overwhelmed with like all the, oh my goodness, and is this going to be taken away from me? Is this going to be poisoned? And around about the autumn time, you'll stop feeling like that as much. I don't think it will ever 100% go away, Ali. I'm sorry to say, even with all the resources in the world. But it will be like 95 to 99% gone. What do you have in your magic ball there, Inbaal? I see you.
Um, yeah, so I really wanted to say the crystal ball for something so complex that has such a lot of fortune in it. And it says, Ali, we're kind of focusing for no reason on the one family member that dragged you down, but actually it shows that from the previous generations, there were people who in childhood and indeed from beyond this world have always embraced you and have always been by your side as you rise above. And what the crystal ball is showing me is that the same figures that made sure that you didn't get dragged all the way down with having an unsupportive parent, and I'm being super polite, those people are also making absolute certain that you view every opportunity that comes to you, that you don't miss anything. They embrace you, they guide you, they lead you, and you are so not alone in a real radical, productive, and positive way. So it's inevitable that you're going to have yet another positive year. This time, maybe less of a game changer because you've already changed the game and now your game is, successful.
Yeah.
So
Amazing rest of your life, actually.
yeah,
Is it
exactly,
like
exactly.
I'm not saying there'll never be a bump in the road, like, life is life, but the things that you experienced before are not gonna happen again in the same way. And even if somebody tries that nonsense with you, you're gonna have the tools and the forthright to be like, absolutely not,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
just move them out of your life. Just absolutely not. No questions, no buts, no maybes, just absolutely not.
yeah. Oh, exactly. Chaley says, yes, growing up and living with a person who is supposed to love you the most, making you believe that nothing you do is correct, is garbage and very
Yeah.
difficult to heal from. If you do, though, it is more than worth it. Thank you. And
Thank you for
Ali
that.
says, wow, my grandmother passed a month ago. I literally reached out to them an
Oh,
hour ago. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Ali, for this beautiful share. It's really kind of you. Just so that everybody knows, when you get a reading, even if it's incredible, you're under no obligation to, to open your heart. We know it's really, really public, so we really understand the heart that you've put into sending this message to us, and we appreciate it so
we do.
much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Ali. That's amazing. Um, Pam says to Ali, just remember, when we put any of our energy into negativity, we're actually feeding the negativity. We get what we put out. Yeah, I think Ali is like my life coach at the moment, because she has sort of prevailed, she has pushed through,
Yeah.
and she has had that life-changing experience. We are so over time, like it's not funny. There are so many other shows on the channel. We've got to give them this space as well. But thank you so much for the show today, Tor, and everybody watching.
Thank you to you too. It was a really, really good show. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you to everybody for participating, not participating. That's not the word. But thank you to everybody for participating and for all your psychic questions, all your lovely feedback. We are here every week, 9 a.m. UK time. This is Predict the Week. I've been Tor. This has been Inbaal, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye bye for
Have an
now.
amazing week. Bye.
They say you're normal, but you're nobody I know. You energize me when my batteries are low. You bring me comfort because you're there. You are my oxygen, my air. When I was lonely, I would pray for something else. When I am with you, I feel